Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Credit Chat. I apologize for being so late. There's just a lot going on with everything we're doing, and I got caught on a call. So, thank you for being here. I'm Rod Griffin. I'm Director of Consumer Education and Advocacy for Experian. This is Credit Chat, and I try to be here at 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Didn't make it now. It's 10 to 2, but I want to at least have a chance to talk to everybody and connect. Ms. Edie4, good to see you. Theft 510, thanks for being here. Classic Kisha, thanks for joining. And little buddy, it is Thursday already, going so fast. I hope everybody's doing well, that you're and is well and staying safe, and take care of yourselves. It's kind of a crazy time, as we all know, and it's something we've never experienced. So that's first and foremost on my mind, is that everybody and in our community is doing well and is staying safe, and I think that's the most important priority. But we're here to talk about credit reports and credit scores and fraud and identity theft, all the things that are important financially, and that's going to be an increasingly important issue for so many of us as we go forward. Sir Tanky, thanks for joining. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask. I'll do my very best to answer. We know things are evolving very rapidly and changing constantly. So trying to resolve those issues. Angela 41247596. I call, no one answers. I asked the creditors to report to y'all. I paid my debt in Experian. Missing part of the question. So are you calling? I presume calling your creditors. And if so, I know, and I've heard from some folks that call times are really long. Still reporting a credit report. So a couple of things that might help expedite that. So, it's being patient now, and I kind of grimace because it's a lot of patience for a lot of us, but I know their call centers and their representatives that are creditors are swamped. I know we're seeing some increased call volume, and so our wait times might be a bit longer than usual when you do call us. But to help with disputes, if you haven't already, go online to experian.com/dispute and follow the instructions there. We will give you a free report right there online. If you don't already have one, if you do have a personal report that's current, you can enter the report number and then just follow the instructions and enter the dispute for the account that you need to dispute and what you're trying to get corrected or believes inaccurate. We will then send that information to the creditor, just as if you were disputing with a person or by mail. You will get verification that the dispute's sent, so there's a paper trail for you. You can print off the report right away. And so you'll have that record. That can help expedite things now. So kind of internet to the rescue these days. So hoping that will help. Then that might help speed things along and eliminate the need to sit on the phone quite so long, especially with what's going on these days. So give that a try. I hope that helps. That's usually the fastest and actually the safest, most efficient way to dispute. So I'm scrolling back down, just trying to make sure. And it should be, if it's paid, it may still show on the credit report, but the payment status should be updated to show paid as well. So make sure, if it is still on the report, it should stay or show that it's still tongue-tied. It should show paid or paid in full as the payment status. And when you pay something off, it doesn't necessarily immediately get removed right away. In most cases, it doesn't. The status would be updated to show paid, and then after a period of time, it would come off. If you have an account that's never been late and it's paid in full, that actually would stay for 10 years from the paid date, which is a good thing. That means that you're keeping the positive information longer than any of the bad things. So that helps you reestablish that credit history. You don't lose the history of that account. So we do keep paid accounts that were positive longer. So that might be too. I'm just trying to throw out some things that might be affecting that. So that's important to understand too. Brewman777, thanks for joining. A little bit of the usual thing, but people around the country are acting up. It's hard times and it's scary, and so I know a lot of people, are making decisions based on fear, and we hope that we don't do that. That we can stay calm. But I understand it, and so because it is, and my family's been affected. I'm not shy about sharing what's happening with my family. I have a daughter who's works at a dentist office, so a lot of that work has gone away, and she's looking at being a small family dentist as well. So any of the non-essential things aren't happening, so her work time is decreasing. I work part-time at a restaurant. That's not happening, so there's a decrease in income. I have another daughter who works at a school system, fortunately, but not the school's out, and so that's affecting her life. I have friends and family and people that I work with who are now taking on the role of homeschooling, whether they wanted to or not. And teachers are doing everything they can, so it's a chaotic time and it's a scary time. So that's what we have to, kind of remember and work together on. I mean, it's just a hard time for everybody. And so, the fact that we're here talking, I think, is really important. And it's sort of therapeutic for me, too, to talk to everybody and at least try to share information that we can all act on. Bide 3, thanks for joining. Navio, good to see you again. What is the length of time that people accessing your credit report for the purpose of getting a loan will count as one inquiry? So when you apply for a loan, the lender will request a copy of your credit report. That constitutes an inquiry. So they've looked at that report. That's all an inquiry shows, is that someone has requested your credit report. And with hard inquiries that can affect lending decisions or scores a little bit because they're shared with other lenders, that you have to have applied for credit. So when you apply, the lender checks your report, and inquiry will be posted or added. It's just a record that someone's looked at your report. That inquiry lasts, for 2 years. And I have a little bit of allergies. It's not COVID, so I know that for sure. But so if my voice is trying to go away too. I was talking to a lot of people and talking a lot lately, so I apologize for that. But the inquiry will remain for 2 years on your credit report. They really only affect scores for a couple of months generally, because there's either a new account that represents the risk, and so the inquiry doesn't really represent risk anymore, or there isn't a new account. We don't show that you've been declined or know that you've been declined. We just would know there's no new account. So you may have just decided you didn't want the loan, for example. And so that inquiry, there's no new loan. So that inquiry doesn't represent risk. So the impact diminishes very rapidly. So inquiries, I don't worry about, and I tell people I don't worry about them because they're so minimal. They're the least important factor in credit scores. They stay on the report for 2 years, but they really only affect credit scores very minimally and only for a couple of months. If you're buying a house or a car, they're counted as a single inquiry, typically within a 30-day period, but within a 14-day period for sure. It just depends on the scoring system, and it's gotten longer over time. But in the early days, it was 2 weeks within a rolling 30-day period, which is really confusing. So rule of thumb, 14 days. So if you shop for a loan within 14-day period for a mortgage or a car in particular, you'll be safe in that being counted as only one inquiry for every lender that looks at your report for that purpose. So I think I eventually got around to answering your question. Sissy AKJ, thanks for joining. Are the mortgage payments being deferred, or do you still have to pay on time? Right now, you need to talk to your lender specifically and ask them. There are resources that they can use. So lenders, the credit reporting companies, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, works with a trade association called the Consumer Data Industry Association, more than you probably care to know, but CDIA. And together we have in place a crisis response plan or program that enables lenders to report your accounts as in forbearance or in deferment with a special code that indicates that it's the result of a natural disaster or a declared disaster. So if they report that account as in forbearance or in deferment, it's not going to have a negative effect on your credit history, but the lender has to decide whether to do that. And right now, it's essentially case by case. So they're going to look at your credit history. They're going to probably ask you to verify whether or not you have a decrease in income or job loss as a result. So you would need to meet the lender's particular criteria, and then they could report that account in forbearance. Things are evolving. That may change in the coming weeks. I don't know. But right now, my understanding is that it's the lenders are deciding, sort of case by case. I mean, in my example, I'm working from home. My business is, everybody's working from home, so it's changed everything, but we're still working. I'm still thankful and blessed to be bringing home a paycheck. So I'm still paying my bills on time. A lender shouldn't be expected to put my account in forbearance, I don't think, or deferment. So far, everything's going well. So I'm hoping that continues to be the case. But for other people, like I said, my family, but daughters have been affected. They certainly, I think, should talk to their lenders and maybe qualify for that sort of thing. So with their debt. So it's case by case. But lenders have those tools available, and I know that they're using them. So talk to your lender. It's kind of the short answer, and they can tell you what they can do. There are other options that they may have as well. So talk to your lenders. Be active in reaching out, talking to your lenders. Chuck Grossman, thanks for joining. Experian still has it on your credit report. They sent removal in 2018. Not sure what's happened there, but again, dispute the information and check your credit report. Make sure that you're looking at a current report. I know that sounds kind of funny, but I have talked to people. I'm not saying this has happened with you, but I actually talked to a person once who said they needed their report to be updated, and we finally said when they got it was like 6 years old. So make sure that you're checking a current copy, and you can go to Experian.com/dispute. Again, get a free copy, dispute that information if it should come off. If you have documentation, you can also upload it electronically, and we will share all of that documentation with lenders and others to make sure that they get it. Little buddy, are creditors outsourced to other countries? Not sure I fully understand the question in terms of lending. Lenders have to comply, I guess, based on what you've asked, my assumption is you're asking about legal requirements, that sort of thing. They have to comply with U.S. lending laws and banking laws. In terms of outsourcing, don't know. In terms of credit reporting, lenders do not share information across national boundaries. So we don't share, rephrase that, I didn't say that correctly. Experian does not share your credit histories across national boundaries. Experian's actually an international company, but we have credit bureaus in a number of countries that we don't share information with each other because the credit reporting regulations are so different and the systems are so different from one nation to another that we don't share credit reports from, say, the UK, from England to the United States, or the US to England. Even though we are, in terms of incorporation, a British company, our headquarters are in London, England, globally. In the US, where I work in North America, our headquarters are in Costa Mesa, California. And I always share this story that our current CEO actually came from the UK to the US, worked for Experian in the UK, moved to the US, and he lost his credit history. He had to start all over again because we don't share your credit reporting information, your personal information, or account information across national boundaries. So it stays in the US, if that's helpful. From a lending perspective, they would have to comply with US laws. I'm not sure exactly. I'm just not an expert in that area. And will your missed mortgage payment be reported? So if you're deferred, CCAKJ wouldn't be. So in a deferment or a forbearance, typically don't report a late payment during that period, so it wouldn't have a negative effect on your credit report. Once that forbearance period ends, then your payment history, your payments would resume, and that would begin to be reported again. So really, basically, that's how that works. Bruce McClary, good to see you from NFCC. I had a great conversation with Bruce and the National Foundation for Credit Counseling on Facebook Live this morning. We are launching a series on Facebook called #CreditChatLive. And so we'll be having a chat once a week. Bruce helped me kick that off. Watch for it. We're going to start having them probably Fridays so that everybody, if you have questions, kind of like we're doing here, we can build our community on Facebook as well, answer questions, help people get information they need as we go through this period, and I hope into the future as we come out of it. So check us out there too. Watch for Experian on Facebook Live in the coming weeks. We are also, on talking about that, would mention that we hope you will join us on Credit Chat on Wednesdays, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. We're having an 8-week series around COVID-19 and the impacts it's having on all of us, not only from a credit standpoint, but also from things like, how do you work from home and what are the implications of that? How do you set a routine? Things of that sort. So all of the things that we're all trying to figure out as we go through this. So 2 o'clock Central, 3 Eastern. I try to be here again on Periscope, 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern. We want to make sure that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we want to make sure that we're reaching out and connecting with everybody. So Will offers to skip a credit card payment have a negative impact on your credit score? Um, I'm assuming this is the same Bruce MC that I talked to this morning. If not, different Bruce MC. Thanks for being here. And if you miss a payment or skip a payment, so they're saying they will not um, report you late. From that sense, it's okay. Keep in mind that interest could continue to be charged on that balance. So if you don't make a payment, your balance will increase potentially, and you will pay interest on that balance for the payment you didn't make. So you're carrying a balance, you're going to pay interest on that. So it could cost you more. The other thing that could happen is that from a credit reporting standpoint, your utilization rate will increase because your balance is higher. That could have a slightly negative or maybe a significantly negative impact on your credit scores, depending on how much you've charged. So, and how much that balance goes up. So directly missing a payment, if the lender says you don't have to make one this month, no, it won't affect your credit history. It wouldn't be reported late, but you will see an increase in your balance if you made charges. That will drive up your utilization rate, and you also would pay interest on that balance. So it could cost you more and could in the long term affect scores indirectly. When sending letters about inquiries, should they be certified or regular mail? You can send them certified. You can send them regular mail. If you're, and I'm trying to understand, if you're sending letters about inquiries or disputes, you can send them to Experian. You can dispute online as well. Actually, online is faster, it's cheaper, it's safer. When you think about it, if you put a letter in the mail to Experian, which you can do, you need to put it in an envelope that says it's going to Experian. You'll need to include your identifying information as well as information about the account you're disputing. And the sad thing is that fraud happens when people get involved. So when a letter is in our mail system, multiple people will handle that piece of mail. It could expose you to fraud and risk in that regard. It also takes a lot longer. And the other issue that we see is sometimes people don't tell us exactly what the problem is in terms that we can share with a lender. So you need to be precise and tell us this is the account. It was never late. This is the account. It's not mine. Or this is inaccurate and this is why, so that we can notify the lender and communicate that dispute accurately. So when we're online, we can help you do that. But when you send a letter in the mail, make sure you tell us exactly why. This is the account. This is the exact problem with it, so that we can make sure we dispute it properly. Honestly, I believe this is a race thing because I'm constantly trying to get this removed. No, I can't. I don't know. I mean, from a credit reporting standpoint, certainly not. There's nothing in your credit report that indicates, your race, your religion, anything of that sort. It's objective. So I certainly hope that's not the case from a lending perspective. But if there's an issue, please dispute it. Please contact us because we want to make sure we have it right. I certainly hope that's not the case. Brewerman 777, wondering how many of these credit agencies can have any credibility with them being hacked. Well, so in response to that, there was one breach. It was 2 years ago, and it was not Experian, thankfully. But it's something we take very, very seriously. And it's probably the greatest fear we have as a business is that the information we maintain and that we are stewards of is breached and that we're attacked. So we're doing everything we can to make sure it's safe and it's secure, and that the information that's in our credit reports helps you gain access to credit and other financial resources. That's what it's all about. And that's why we're here, and that's why we talk to you, and why we hear from you, and want to talk with you and hear from you, because we want to make sure that we're communicating with people and helping you gain access and use that credit report in ways that are beneficial to you as well as to business. And so, when we think about what we've done, it's actually incredibly accurate. It's incredibly valuable to our economy. It helps more people gain access to financial resources at lower costs, break predatory lending, and helps people improve their financial health and well-being. And that's what we want to achieve. That's what we're trying to do. And understand the concerns. That's why we want you to be engaged with us too. Get that report, make sure everything's accurate, make sure it's being reported, and it's there to work for you. I mean, I don't know what else to say beyond that. No, it's supposed to be removed from 2018. Not sure why. Again, I without knowing more about the report, I don't have access to reports. I can't speak to that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough to be able to tell you. Prophetic Counselor, thanks for joining. Bruce MC, thanks for sharing. And again, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Angela, that you're having difficulty and you feel that way. And I hope we can get it resolved. I'm not sure again what the issues are, what specifically the issue is with the account. It apparently should come off, but is it paid? Is it a delinquency? What are the specifics? But we should be able to, if you have documentation. I'm not sure, and I can't really in this kind of forum answer that kind of question. There's just not enough information. Crazy 112311, thanks for joining. Meant to add, it's a mortgage loan. Yeah. So going way back, I'm trying to remember the full question now. Yeah, if you're applying for a mortgage loan and it's within 14 days, shopping around for the best rates, you'll be fine. And usually even a bit longer than that, but 14 days is safe. What's considered a soft inquiry, hard inquiry, like credit card company looking to increase your limit? So a soft inquiry is an inquiry that is only shown to you on your personal credit report, and it's not the result of your application for credit. So a soft inquiry would be things like getting your own credit report. So you can get your own report, won't affect your credit history in any way. It would be things like employment inquiries. So if you're applying for a job and they want to check your credit history, if for insurance inquiries, getting pre-approved offers, you didn't apply for credit, but they're sending an offer. Those are all soft inquiries. They're only shown to you, don't affect lending decisions in any way. A hard inquiry is an inquiry that's the result of your application for credit and sometimes other services, but usually credit. And so they're shown to others, so others being lenders, and as a result, they can have a small impact on your credit history. The reason they're shown to other lenders is that when you apply for credit, that inquiry is posted immediately, and it represents a bit of risk because there's now potentially an unknown debt or an unknown amount out there that doesn't show as an account yet in your report. So it represents a bit of risk. And over time, usually a couple of months, there's either a new account reported or there is no new account. And so the inquiry doesn't represent risk anymore. So a hard inquiry, result of your application for credit, it can be shared with others and can have a small impact on scores. Soft inquiries are everything else. And so you may see a lot of soft inquiries. Usually don't see very many hard inquiries on a report. Is there any real benefit to adding a personal statement to your credit report? Yes. I mean, in some instances, certainly. For example, the statement that we always recommend is what we call statement of dispute. So if you dispute something, you disagree with the results, we always recommend you add a statement of dispute. It says, I disagree with the results of this dispute, and here is why, and lets you tell your side of the story. So anytime a lender gets your report in response to an application or in any other instance, that they will be notified there's a statement on file, and they should be able to respond to that. Now, it may result in you not being able to get instant credit, for example, but if it's reviewed manually, they're going to see it. If you're applying for a mortgage and there's a personal statement, it can absolutely be valuable because the lender's going to look at that report, they'll see it, and they'll say, hey, can you tell me what's happened? Can you document this? Now, I always caution against some things we euphemistically call statements of excuse. The example I've used years ago, I got a letter that said, hey, I want to put a statement on my credit report that I forgot to mail my check, so my payment's late because we went to Tahiti on vacation. Real letter, and that's not going to be helpful. So lender's going to say, I hope you had a great vacation. I still need my payment on time. So some statements absolutely can be helpful. Others not so much, but statements of dispute, absolutely. There is a statement that can be added now in response to the COVID ID outbreak. That is a natural disaster or reported disaster or declared disaster statement, and it's given a special code in our credit reports. Saying that the consumer has been affected by a natural disaster, reported disaster. Vantage score 3.0, 4.0, for example, recognize that dispute. And so will treat accounts with that, or that dispute, that statement. So they'll recognize that statement, and accounts with that statement will be treated as what they describe as neutral, meaning it's not going to have a negative effect on your scores. Really important there. Any tips for those who haven't filed taxes yet? No, taxes aren't my expertise. I really need that too. There's lots of things I'm hearing bouncing around about extended times, that sort of thing. I'm still going to get mine in just to be sure that there's no issues. Yeah, see, and that's what I heard was July 15th, but I'm not the guy to answer to that. Best way to get over a 700 score, sweet and sour 21. Patience, consistency, make sure that you're paying all your bills on time, and that you're keeping your balances on your credit cards as low as possible. So those two things are really the most important. If you have credit card balances, the lower you can keep them, and if you can pay them down, that usually helps the fastest. The other thing that you can do today is have Experian add your positive cell phone payments, positive utility payments through Experian Boost. So if you go to Experian.com/boost, you can learn how to do that free service. You enroll in Boost and tell us which accounts you want us to capture. So it's a utility account, cell phone account, cable television accounts, and we capture those payments from your bank account each month, just like we would capture a payment for a credit card. Pull that into your report as an account, and we'll go back up to 24 months. We're seeing average increases in the neighborhood of 13 points for people with thin files. We're seeing increases around 19 points. So that can help as well if you want to do that. And it's voluntary, obviously. You control it. So if you change your mind, don't want us to do it, you can tell us to stop, and we will. And again, there's no cost. So you might look at that and give that a try as well. New York Zeppelin, thanks for joining. And I missed Ms. DD4's response to something. I have a lot of collection bills and medical. What do I do to clear it? Huge challenge. Medical collections are treated a bit differently than other kinds of collections in terms of their impact on scores, so that can help a bit. They have less impact. Once you pay a collection, they're whether medical or otherwise today, in the newest scores, they're no longer included in the score calculation. So if you pay off a medical collection, it will no longer affect your scores. But would still show in the report, probably in most cases it would show paid, and once it showed as paid, it's there as a record of that debt, but it wouldn't affect the scores from FICO and Vantage Score today, the newest ones, and would have less effect than any older scores. So kind of where it is today. Lampshade 76, thanks for joining. How is going live helping? Angela, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know how to help here. If you followed the dispute instructions, gone through those, you have information to contact us. Don't know what the issues are. I'm sorry. I mean, and that's all I can. I don't have much else I can do here. It's just not the right forum. Watching some of the jokes. If you're just joining, I'm Rod Griffin. I'm Director of Consumer Education and Advocacy for Experian. This is Credit Chat. I try to be here 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're running a bit late, had some calls and things that ran over as we're dealing with what everybody's dealing with right now. So running a bit long, but wanted to get on and at least have a chance to talk with you. Little buddy, I don't have access to credit reports. I don't want access to credit reports, and I can't look things up. I can't dispute on your behalf, but now you can get your report again for free once every 12 months, annualcreditreport.com. You can dispute your information online at Experian, at experian.com/dispute. We'll give you a free report there, and it has contact information to call us or to write to us, and you'll be able to speak to a representative who can look at your credit history and help you with it. AKA Go for Hockey 1, good to see you. Thanks for joining again. Will credit scores go down or credit limits go down with an economic crisis? AKA Go for Hockey 1. I think right now we're in a very unique situation. I anticipate changes and things evolving over the next few weeks. So really hard question to answer. I know that things are being put in place by lenders and others to help protect your payment history, help people through this crisis that's been brought on by COVID-19. So I think it's such a unique situation today. if you look at the mortgage crisis, yes, we saw significant declines in credit scores, but that was brought on by financial issues that we could now easily identify. Kind of, in many ways, saw it coming. This we didn't. So this is so unique today, and we're watching what's happening. So, second chance. Thanks for joining me here. I'm running late, but wanted to give it some time. At least get online, let you know we're all thinking of you, and that we want to help if we can. So, I can't speak to markets, but kind of coming down to the end. Thank you so much for joining and being part of the Credit Chat today. And I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. If you're just joining, I'm Rod Griffin. I'm Director of Consumer Education and Advocacy for Experian. The logo's kind of buried back there behind me, but if you have any questions, want to join, I'll be here next week. Join us on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern on our Twitter Credit Chat. Now, we're going to have an 8-week series focused on the implications of COVID idea around personal finance and other aspects of our lives that are being disrupted. So even things like working from home and what does that mean to us, since we're all now kind of isolated and working remotely in many cases. So hope to see you there. To learn more, go to ex.pn/credit chat. Hope to see you all again soon. Please take care, everybody. Be safe, be well, and we'll talk soon.